Welcome to this explainer. Look, if you've ever felt your heart racing or your palms completely sweating right before you have to speak in front of people, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to dive into practice techniques that actually work. Our mission here is to completely transform that nervous energy into unstoppable, real speaking confidence. We'll be breaking down the exact techniques that strong debaters use before every single speech so you can start applying them literally right away.
Okay, let's just dive right in and bust a massive myth right off the bat. There's this super common misconception out there that confident speakers are just naturally brave, right? Like you either have it or you don't. No way. The reality is actually incredibly empowering. Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you build. It grows exclusively from practice. Think of it like a muscle. The more you work it, the stronger it's going to get.
So, why exactly does practice build confidence?
Let's look at exactly what happens to your brain and body when you put in those reps. Everything kicks off at step 1. Your brain feels prepared. When your brain actually knows what you're going to say, it triggers this amazing chain reaction. Moving to step 2. Because your brain isn't panicking to find the next word, your voice naturally becomes steadier. And that leads right into step 3. Your ideas become way clearer because you aren't clouded by that panic. And finally, step 4. The entire speech simply feels easier to deliver. It's a total cause and effect loop, and it all starts with preparation.
So here's the absolute crucial takeaway. Practice turns nervous energy into confidence. You know those pre-speech jitters? They're completely 100% normal. But when you apply focused practice, you're essentially building an engine that converts that raw, nervous energy directly into powerful speaking confidence. You aren't trying to eliminate the energy. You're just changing what it does for you.
Now that we know the why, let's get into the how. With technique number 1, practice out loud.
There's a really clear distinction we need to make between two common study habits here. Reading your speech silently? Sure, it's helpful. But actively speaking your ideas out loud is undeniably the superior strategy. It's the only way to really bridge that gap between knowing the material in your head and actually delivering it out into the world. When you project out loud, you unlock 3 major benefits. First, you get to actually hear your own voice, getting comfortable with how you sound. Second, you instantly notice the difficult words. You know, those tricky little phrases that look totally fine on paper, but somehow trip up your tongue in reality. Catching them now means you won't stumble over them later. And third, you can lock in your pacing, making sure you aren't just rushing through your most important points. This right here is exactly why strong speakers always practice out loud.
Moving right along to technique number 2, practice the first sentence.
We all know the very beginning is the hardest part, right? So take a clear, straightforward opening line like, "My first argument is student health." If you drill a simple sentence like this over and over, you secure a massive micro win right out of the gate. If that first sentence feels easy, the momentum just naturally kicks in, and the entire rest of your speech automatically becomes easier too. It builds your confidence incredibly fast.
Next up is technique number 3, practice in short sessions.
A lot of times, we think we need to lock ourselves in a room for hours to prepare. But honestly, long practice sessions can just feel totally exhausting and drain your focus. Instead, short practice sessions work so much better. We're talking about just 1 or 2 minutes at a time here. Taking these small, bite-sized practice steps prevents burnout and actually creates much stronger, more resilient confidence over time.
And that brings us to our final core strategy. Technique number 4, practice with a listener.
Now, your listener doesn't need to be some formal judge with a clipboard. Speaking your speech to a friend, to a parent, or honestly, even just to yourself in a mirror works absolute wonders. The whole goal is to simulate the feeling of having an audience. Speaking to someone helps your delivery feel so much more natural. Your confidence truly grows when your practice environment feels like the real deal.
Okay, let's lock in everything we've covered so far with a quick mini challenge.
So, which practice method builds confidence faster? Is it option 1, reading silently only? Or is it option 2, speaking your ideas out loud? Take a quick second to think about it. If you had to choose right now, which of these 2 methods is the absolute fastest track to real confidence?
If you picked option 2, you are absolutely right. Speaking out loud is the definitive answer here. Look, reading silently keeps the info locked in your mind, but speaking out loud, that is the ultimate way to prep both your brain and your vocal cords for the physical act of a real debate.
Now let's wrap up our playbook today with a quick confidence quiz.
Question 1 goes right back to that very first myth we busted at the start of this explainer. Where does confidence actually come from? Does it grow from A, guessing, B, practice, or C, waiting?
The answer, of course, is B. Confidence is never just a waiting game, and it definitely isn't a guessing game. It is entirely built through deliberate, consistent practice. And for our final question today, what is the defining habit of the strongest speakers out there? Do they practice A, silently only, B, out loud, or C, never?
You nailed it if you said B. Strong debaters and public speakers always practice out loud. It's really the only way to steady your voice, catch those tricky words, and clear up your ideas before you ever step foot in front of an audience.
Today, you learned that speaking confidence isn't some genetic lottery. It is entirely in your control through targeted practice. By practicing out loud, starting with that tough first sentence, keeping your sessions short, and finding a listener, you literally transform nervous energy into real power. Coming up next time, we'll review this entire confidence toolkit so you can step up and be completely fearless in every single debate round. So what will be the very first sentence you practice out loud today? Think about that and keep practicing.